Okay, check, check. Can you guys hear me okay? Does that all the time? There we go. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, check, check. Mic check, 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 check. Can you hear the game okay, Robo? That's okay, Wirehead. Thanks for showing up. Just trying to make sure that everybody can hear me okay and the game. Sounds like the game's a little loud. Maybe this will help some. Alright, cool. So, I'm not going to wait at this point. I figure we are going to get this ball rolling. I'm going to pull up the statistics screen just so everybody can kind of take a look at it. Looks like the video is lagging a little bit, so we'll just kind of make do. Music's loud, says Robo. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Let me turn it down some more. That should be better now, so... Alright, we're going to get this ball rolling. We're going to go to the statistics screen. I've died 1,637 times. So what we're going to do is remember that number as best we can. At the end of this stream, we're going to come back and we're going to see just how many more times we've died added to that. So, let's play some Super Meat Boy. We've got a lot of different levels to choose from. The forest is the easiest, so we're going to start there and kind of gradually get into the game and see what it's all about. Every single level starts with this cute little cutscene, and a lot of times they reference classic retro games like Mega Man or Castlevania. Just kind of groove a little bit. And here we are, we're in the forest, so basically every world except the last one consists of 20 stages. You have to beat around 17 of them in order to unlock the boss fight. So what we're going to do, just kind of show you guys how the game works. We're going to just start at level 1 and we're going to work through world 1 just to kind of let you guys see what it's like here. Pretty simple little stage. And boom. Obviously the goal with every single level is to reach Bandage Girl. That is your beloved who was taken by the nefarious Dr. Fetus. So... You get a really cool replay at the end of it. So if you guys saw me posting little play videos throughout the week, that's what I was doing. What's really fun is every time you die, it's going to show what happened. So eventually we get playthroughs which are just hundreds of Meat Boys plummeting to their death and getting cut up on saw blades and all of that. And let's see. Hey Undead, thanks for showing up. Yeah, Robo says Dr. Fetus, he is the bad guy. So, we'll go ahead and do the next stage. This is basically just teaching us how to play the game. Whenever you see an A+, that means we got through the time trial. Every level has a certain amount of time. If you get the time trial beaten, you're able to do a Dark World version of the level, and those are extremely difficult. We'll take a look at those shortly. Like I said, it's just kind of showing us how to play the game. So it's not going to throw anything too crazy at us yet. So we just kind of hop around. He sticks to the walls nicely. He's pretty maneuverable. And considering the challenges the game's going to throw at us, he needs to be. It's going to be a couple levels before we even see anything really dangerous, but that purple over there is a warp zone. Certain levels have little warp zones that'll appear. If you can hurry up and get to it in time, it's going to open up a whole new level, and they're usually themed like an old 8-bit game, or it'll emulate like a Game Boy style level. So there's a lot of really cool things. We'll hit up a couple of those as we go. So this is the first level where we can possibly die. Have some saw blades here. Nothing we can't really handle. Just gotta learn the trick of how to jump over saws. And that is something that we'll be spending a lot of time doing, I can assure you of that. So we just keep the ball rolling. You notice they're starting to ratchet things up a little bit. This is going to be the first level where it's going to start teaching you how to do the wall jump with a lot of danger below you. Some of the levels in this game get insanely difficult, and we're actually going to be playing some of those. Here is your introduction to disappearing blocks. Let's see. Wirehead asked me, have I played the N+ games? Yes, as a matter of fact. I had a group of friends and we used to play on 4-player mode all the time. And let me tell you, N+ and a room full of your friends with some beer flowing is a good time had by all. So, this one you kind of have to be a little tricky. As you can see, a slide up in order to get through. Make ourselves a little area, and there we go. Bada bing. Easy. Now you'll notice it starts getting a little more difficult. This one, there we go, see? This one, if you mess up, there's not really any going back, because your platforms are going to be gone. One of the things that makes Super Meat Boy extremely entertaining is the fact if you die, it's half a second and you're right back in the action. So, it's one of those games you're going to die a hell of a lot, so you might as well just get used to it. We are going to hit this warp zone because I don't know if I've opened it up yet. So this one looks like it's an Atari 2600 style. That's pretty awesome. Like I said, they're going to be 8-bit, Atari style, Game Boy style. Okay, this one I actually did. We can unlock hidden characters from other indie games. And this one is Commander Video from Bit Trip Runner. All of the hidden characters have special attributes and abilities and things that they can do that's unique. So if you'll notice, Commander Video hovers for a little bit. Every single unlockable has 3 stages you have to go through. And once you've done those, you unlock the character. We have already unlocked him, but just to show you guys. I really dig the flashing blocks. That is an Atari classic move right there. I really like collecting Atari. I don't have a lot of memories of playing it, but it's just so important as far as the history of gaming goes. I try to get boxed Atari games whenever I can. So there we go. If we hadn't have unlocked him already, that's how we do it. So go ahead and play some more forest levels here. I figure we're probably going to just go through the entire forest just to sort of give everybody a taste of what it's like. And the game starts getting fairly difficult in World 2, and it scales up to ridiculous levels. Check the chat. Those are some flashing lights, says Tall Gaming Man. Hey, Tall. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, those were some flashing lights. Very, very Atari style. Okay, this is going to start getting a little more complicated, but once again, nothing that we're not up to. The designers of Super Meat Boy, there's a really great documentary that I recommend you guys watch. It's called Indie Gamer the Movie. And they talk with A lot of the designers who have made some of the really influential indie games over the past decade, like Jonathan Blow, Meatboy, the guys who made this, and it's a really interesting documentary. The guys who made this, one of the big things that they tried to go for was teaching the player how to play the game without long tutorials, and teaching you skills that you're going to need as the game goes on. And you really get a sense of that as you play it. Checking the chat. Everything's looking good in there, so we'll just keep moving. This is going to start teaching us kind of the timing of how to get around rotating saw blades. Wall jumping is always a huge part of it. Here we go. This is the first level that really starts to throw people, because your timing needs to be pretty good. And as you can see, sometimes it's easier said than done. Once again, part of the allure of this game is the fact that you can instantly start after dying, so... And this jump usually gives new players a bit of pause. You can see they're starting to really add in different levels of jumps and varying how much you jump. Long jumps, short jumps. We'll be coming up on the boss fight relatively soon. It's another one that definitely pushes new players to the limit. I think the only thing in this game I'm not really a huge fan of are some of the boss fights. There's one in particular I might show you guys. It's got a lot of really random elements, and because of that, it's pretty obnoxious, but most of the game, it really just relies on your skill. So, when you die, there's really no one left to blame except yourself. I know, a lot of people like to talk about how Dark Souls is extremely difficult. And it is. Dark Souls is an extremely difficult game. But for my money, something like this is far harder. I've spent more time on certain levels in this game than I have on any part of Dark Souls. There's no real room for error with a game like this. So, Dr. Fetus is going to burn down this forest, and we need to get away from his crazy chainsaw walker. This is the first level that's sort of like a timed race. But if you get out ahead of him, you're generally going to be pretty okay. And here we go. So we've pretty much beaten that. That level can throw new players pretty hard. Tall Gaming Man said, "My voice is very suited to streaming. Not what he expected." Thank you. What were you expecting? Robo says she loves the speed of this game. I do too. It's really satisfying because, oh, this is tragic, guys. Squirrel friends in burning forest. Look at what man hath wrought upon us all. Squirrel friend. And that's the end of chapter 1. Yeah, the speed of this game is absolutely perfect. And one thing I love, the levels are generally so short and so quick. If you only have 5 or 10 minutes to just hang out and play a game, it's not a problem. Sit down, knock out a level or two. For those who might remember, that was a nice little nod to Castlevania. Whenever you see flashing, that means that the speedrun portion of the level has been beaten. So now we're not going to be going straight in line like we were. We're just going to kind of dart around here and there, see if we can get some cool stuff. We have a lot of septic needles. This is where the game starts getting a little bit more difficult. It's definitely going to start pushing us a little bit more. Like you notice that last jump, I hesitated for just 1 second too long. So, as I was kind of saying with my comparison of this and Dark Souls, it's... people will say that Dark Souls is tough but fair, that it's your fault when you die. That's not true. I'm going to tell you right away. Dark Souls has some issues with camera fights, and anybody who says otherwise is just trying to fool you. I'm not saying I don't love Dark Souls, I do, but sometimes you'll die and it's not your fault. A game like this, it's your fault. Tall Gaming Man, not sure. To be honest, you got a great voice. Thank you, appreciate that. Sounded good, stronger accent than I imagined. Yeah. My accent used to be a lot thicker, but I was in the military for 10 years. And you travel around all over the world, and you hang out with a lot of different people from different areas in the country. So, it's muted at some. It's still there a little bit. But this one is tricky. You might not realize there are dangerous needles on the ceiling. So the jumps have to be fast, but also very small. So you're doing really fast hops. And this is another one that actually throws people. It's a lot harder than it might look, because if you hold your jump button for a second too long, Meatboy's going to go head first right into all of those needles. So, let's see, this one I'm actually going to just do. There are two obstacles in this game that I despise. The fan blades, which you see here, and these force fields, which you'll see later. I hate both because it's kind of hard to figure out the mechanics of them. I've beaten this game I don't know how many times, and I still have trouble getting a feel for the fans. Sometimes they don't feel like they should do what they're supposed to do. So we are exiting that stage because I hate fans. If you see a white level, it means that I haven't beaten it yet. So we're going to take the opportunity. Here's the character select screen. We've got a few of the extra characters unlocked. My original game save was back on Xbox 360. This is a 360 game. My original save had way more unlocked, but I couldn't get it on cloud storage and transfer it over. So I thought, that's okay, I don't mind playing through it again. Tall Gaming Man said, making this look easy, thank you, it's extremely hard. Wirehead, here's me on the third-person cameras, yeah. We're gonna die and just start over. Because this one is much easier if we do just a quick speedy. And get through. It's not gonna be easy, but it's going to be easier. Yeah, the third-person camera. It's not as bad as it was when 3D games first came out, because if you guys remember, early N64 days and PlayStation days, those games were uncontrollable. Most of them. You had a few that were just complete champions, like Ocarina of Time, Mario 64. They had it. I think we might be stuck, yeah. Let's see, I think this was one that I hadn't beaten. Let's see why. I think I got the warp zone on it, but I never did it all the way to the end. The third-person camera, in my opinion, a good third-person camera, if it works, you don't think about it being there. It's sort of like the musical score for a movie. If the music's doing its job, you don't think about how there's music playing during a scene. I think a camera is a lot like that. If it works, you don't think about the camera. If it doesn't work, you're going to obsess over the camera. Almost had that jump. As you can see, this is only the second world. Things start getting a little tougher. Plus, it's one of those games that you can just kind of casually play, and if you die a lot, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I don't really try too hard because I just want to see a lot of dead Meatboys at the end of the level. Because that always makes me laugh. We'll give this a couple more tries. If I can't beat it, we're going to move on. but focus for just 1 second. Yeah. Check this. Original Tomb Raider was a nightmare, said Wirehead. Half the battle in the old game was the camera. Truer words have never been spoken. A lot of people will go on about, oh, games, they were so perfect at such a certain point. But if you look beyond nostalgia, a lot of games were extremely, extraordinarily broken. Because people didn't really know quite what they were doing. And that is a fine example with the early 3D games. They were completely, absolutely miserably broken because of bad cameras. I still remember so many of the games that the difficulty was just trying to get the camera to work right. I'm not sure how we're going to get to that key. I think if it gives us a boost up. There we go. I think Bandage Girl is right here. There we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Like I said, I despise the fan blades with a passion. Let's see, Destructoid. Let's try to do a speed run on this stage. I don't know what it is. Okay, I remember this one. This is another one where if you don't monitor your jumps extremely carefully, you're going to have a really hard time. So now we're going to have to wait here for it to unlock her. And it's surprisingly easy to fall off to your death right there at the very end. You'll notice there's a bandage. Miscellaneous stages will have bandages. You can use those to unlock playable characters. This one, I have no clue how to get to that bandage inside there. So, it's a mystery to all. So that's a little bit of Chapter 2. Lots of needles, lots of blades. Chapter 3, the Salt Factory. It starts getting much more difficult here. And again, Dr. Fetus being the bastard that he is, taking away our beloved Bandage Girl. See what's happening in chat. Yeah, Tomb Raider was extremely annoying in lots of parts, but it was iconic. It was definitely one of the games that helped PlayStation and video games get more into the mainstream. I think that's a pretty safe bet that no one would really argue with. So the Salt Factory is going to start throwing piles of salt at us because, of course, why not? More timed blades. This jump is pretty tricky, actually. It's very easy to fall right off into the salt pile. This one, I believe we go all the way to the bottom. Nope. We'll just die and start over. Because I got this one confused with another one. I thought this was one where we go to the bottom and get a key, and then have to climb. So, you notice it's really starting to get big into the very small hops. You need to hit very controlled points on the wall in order to advance properly. That's something that the game is just never going to stop. Our first conveyor belt. And it moves pretty quick. As you can see, if I don't touch anything, he moves along. So, it really throws off your jumps, and it throws them off even worse when you come back, because now it's working against me. So, there's some like a negative movement taking me backwards, which is really easy to get screwed up with. But you get a feel for it, just like everything else in the game. It's also another one of those games that you don't want to take too seriously. If you find yourself getting frustrated, you're just going to start doing worse and worse and worse. At that point, it's best to just stop, try another level. It's one of the things that makes this game so fun is there's no shortage of levels. So at this point, we're here on World 3. We're going to actually back up. We're going to go back to Chapter 1. And I'm going to show you guys the Dark World. As I was saying earlier in the stream, once you've unlocked the speed run portion, you can switch over to the Dark World version. And these are a little bit more difficult. To give you an idea, here is the first Dark World level. You'll notice that it's pretty much like the original version, except now we have 3 giant saw blades. So it kind of gives you a little indicator about the difficulty getting ratcheted up. They're going to throw a lot more at you in these versions. Alright, let's see. Just about to say, staying very calm. Well, thank you very much, Tall Gaming Man. It's vital with a game like this. Okay, let's see. Looks like we've beaten all of these. We'll take a look at one of the later versions here and see what this looks like. Some of these, there was one I was playing the other day that it was just snow white the entire stage, and it made my eyes hurt. And this one's kind of feeling like that to a little degree. I think it'll hurt your eyes if you stare too long at it. So we'll get our speed run and get the hell out of this level. I don't feel like dealing with that too long. There's so many collectibles and so many levels in this game, and it's also fun because you don't have to beat a level in order to advance forward. Can anybody tell me what this little cutscene is a parody of? Can anybody tell me what this cutscene is a reference to? If you can, you win nothing but admiration of all. Josh Triangle's competing with me. It's not competing. There's plenty of viewers for everybody, besides just starting out. So, basically what that was a parody of was the original Ninja Gaiden. Now this is chapter 4, it's hell, and yes, it is absolutely hell. They throw a lot of really irritating obstacles at you, and this is probably one of my least favorite of all the Meatboy chapters, just because some of the obstacles and things you deal with are just more irritating than they are fun. Let me find an example of one. Well, let's go check out one of the levels that I've never beaten yet. I have no idea what is in store. Oh, okay, yeah, this is a perfect example. This is irritating. I have to avoid the initial shot, and then I have to avoid it when it splits, all while I'm staying on this tiny little platform. Because there's really a lot of randomized element to it. Like, you never quite know when it's going to actually explode. So this one is more just not fun for me. Maybe some people would really like it. I don't. Yep, my timing was off by just one little second. A lot of the stages are going to throw the hardest part at you at the beginning, but some are going to throw it at the end. We'll give a couple more tries here. I think we'll be able to get through this without too much trouble, but as I said, it's really randomized because I never quite know when he's going to explode and when he's not. Thought we'd let that get a little bit further. So, I don't really enjoy that type of obstacle. I don't like the exploding, whatever the hell you call those. Let's see. RoboClay says Ninja Gaiden. Yep, that is exactly it. What year was this released? Honestly, I do not remember. miss the platform, I don't feel like waiting. These portals are sort of like Portal, the game. In that, wherever you have momentum going, that is how it's going to go. Hopefully the lava won't come all the way up here. But then again, it is Super Meat Boy, so... Step gingerly off and jump straight up. If you're going with speed, running to the right, you're going to go out of this portal above my head and right into those fireballs. Every time. So we know we've got to be a lot faster here. These lasers are bad news. And it's another one of those things. So, as you can see, this level is a little bit harder. Not sure what killed me there. It's definitely starting to ratchet up the difficulty. It's throwing a lot of different obstacles. Figured we'd... Oh, it was... Yep. This is one I could already tell that has potential for a lot of Meat Boy deaths. A hell of a lot of Meat Boy deaths. And we moved too quick there. That's alright, we're gonna get it this time. It's one of those games that really lends itself to kind of moving as fast as you can, but sometimes it's better to just wait. And if you run, you're probably just going to screw yourself over. You have to get that key in order to open up. My only real complaint, like, just then, if you are really on the edge of a platform, sometimes Meat Boy is going to not jump when you press it. So you have to be kind of cautious, because there's a little gap. But it's not really something that you're too likely to notice. Laser dodge epic, thank you Wirehead. I'll show you a little bit of this boss, he's kind of cool. So Meat Boy's gone to hell, and what could this be raining down on his head? My God, could it be true? All Meat Boys go to hell when they die? I like that because it's raining Meat Boys and it pretty much describes my average Meat Boy play session. This is a really traditional kind of boss fight. It's all about memorizing the pattern. So he's going to smash his fist. You have to time it just right so you can jump over when he does his slide right. Then he'll do the same thing on the other side. Then he's going to do, yep, a head bash. So he's going to have to bash his head 3 times in order for us to get through. Now he's going to throw a temper tantrum and smash with his right. And then his left. And then again. So as you can see, this one is just about remembering the pattern. It's kind of easy to really screw up just because the jump's sort of precise. I can't remember, I think he does a smash. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I wanted to show you him because he's got that really familiar sort of old-style remember the pattern. So here we are on Chapter 5, Rapture. This gets extremely hard. And who can tell me what this is referencing? Somebody in this chat has to know. So if anybody can tell me what that little cutscene is a reference to, you'll win the love and admiration of gamers all over the world. So Rapture is where the game definitely starts to knock it up a notch. We're going to take a peek at a few levels in here. Almost every level in here has at least one part that's extremely painful. This one is coming up. This jump is extraordinarily difficult to gauge because the saw blades are almost always overlapping each other. And that is really the worst part of this level. It's so difficult to manage to make the jump between them. I usually don't. We're going to move on to the second level. We're going to take a look at just a few of these, and then what we're going to do is go to the final chapter, and I'm going to show you guys the hardest normal difficulty light world level, in my opinion. These are the other obstacles that I was telling you about that I hate. I hate the fans, but I hate these force fields. They're extremely difficult to gauge exactly what they're going to do to you. The mechanics just don't really make a lot of sense, and it usually just pushes you in the direction you don't want to go. I've always thought that Meatboy is somewhat part magnet, because I'm always drawn directly to the magnet. Or not to the magnet, but to the saw blade almost every time. As you can see, this situation is not good. This is, yeah. Didn't think that was gonna last. Okay, I was looking at the chat. Nice landing, yeah. Nobody could tell me what that cutscene was a reference to. It was a reference to Mega Man. Because if you recall, it pans up to Mega Man standing on top of the building. This is another level where I believe that the worst part is that jump right there. Pretty much all of these are just an incredible game to play through. This one can be tough just because it's pushing you down onto the saw blades, but once you get a feel for it, as I've said, my least favorite obstacle in this entire game are these stupid force fields. They suck so bad. Unless you play it, you just really don't have a grasp on how bad they are. They're so aggravating. They never do what you think they're going to do. So essentially the only way to really get around them is to figure out exactly what you have to do and just do that exclusively. There's one level that we haven't beaten. I don't remember what this one is, so we'll take a look at it and see. These deformed meat monsters are awful. They're basically just, they hone in on you, fly through walls, they kill you. They suck. So let's take a look now at some of the Dark World levels, because it was so painful the first time in Light World. I don't think I've looked at any of these on this playthrough, so let's see what they look like. And the very first thing we see is one of those damn force field bubbles. Like I said, the force fields just really don't make sense a lot of times. If we could get a level that doesn't have them, that would be fantastic. With good luck, it looks like all of them are going to have that. Looks like we're going to have to get a key somewhere, but I don't know where. Aha, it's hanging right there. This one, we're going to have to hit it at just the perfect angle to push through, and then slide right along. Yeah, when they say Meatboy is one of the hardest games ever, I think it's a pretty accurate accurate assessment of it. A lot of these jumps are extremely finicky. I see Dave has come in here. Thanks for showing up, Dave. So now we're going to move on to the last chapter. This one is so painful. It's a last chance to try to get one of the cutscene games right. You guys have disappointed me on every other one. Okay, to give you an idea about how bad this is going to be, there are exactly 5 levels to beat, so I think that does a pretty good job of summing it up. This one is simultaneously really easy and really not easy, because all we have to do is go around this entire landform and get the key that's up at the top. The problem is there is no room for error. So the slightest little... So, Bandage Girl's open. Now, we just have to work all the way back around. The only difficult part is you start getting a little nervous and start getting a little sweaty, and the slightest little error, see, the slightest little error and you're screwed. The end chapter is also pretty noteworthy because it has the longest levels in the entire game. This one's not really long, but the next one I'll show you is extremely long. And for my money, it's the hardest level in the entire light world. The first time I ever sat down to beat Meatboy, I think I probably took 4 hours to beat this one. It's so hard. Okay, take a moment. Dave asks, did I ever see the documentary that featured the Super Meat Boy devs? Yes, I actually was talking about that at the beginning of the live stream. I love that one. It was the Super Meat Boy guys. It was Jonathan Blow. It was Phil Fish, who made Fez. A really good documentary. Oh, hey, Tack. Glad you could make it. Don't worry about chatting, just hang out and enjoy a little bit of Super Meat Boy dying. Okay, this is a level that's painful beyond painful. I get nervous just thinking about it. So, these jumps are so precise and so tight. I'm also going to need to get a new Xbox controller relatively soon, because Sarah and I have noticed that our A button is starting to wear out a little bit. Okay, this is going to be a very long but tiny jump. It's such a hard thing to do. Here, we're going to have to jump up and then jump off the wall past the saw blade, another extremely hard kind of jump. That had to be a shorter. And to give you an idea, this is only the very beginning of this level. Okay, so now we're up. Oh, fuck me. There's one level after this before you beat the game, and it is a right pain in the ass. But for my money, nothing was more painful than this stage. So now, what we're going to have to do is jump to the wall to the left, and jump between those buzzsaws. I haven't actually tried tried this one since I started playing again. So that jump is a lot harder than it looks because you have to pretty much jump at just the very tip top. But sometimes, as I was saying before, when you hit it from the very tip top, you won't jump quite right. It's maybe like 1 in 5 times. So there's a slight little bit extremely difficult. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this stage just because it's so difficult. And I've kind of shown you guys just running through stages. We'll take a little bit of time on this one just so you can sort of see the growth process, if you want to call it that, of beating one of these levels. The most important thing, as I said earlier, if you start to feel yourself getting angry, do something else because you're just going to keep messing up. We're going to do the small little jump there. There we go. One of the things that always makes levels like this tough is we're having problems with this obstacle here, with these 3 saw blades. But we'll die on the first jump 1,000 times before we get back up here. So we could come from above, but I feel more comfortable coming from below. So what I do when I play a game like this, I kind of mentally break the level into segments, and I try to master each individual segment. So for the purposes of this, consider every jump and every maneuver its own separate obstacle. So here we have that first buzzsaw. I would consider that obstacle 1. And then this one, bouncing from that platform to the other. Before we move on, let's see. Taking a look at chat. Seeing it. Did any of you guys play Fez? Asks Wirehead. Yes, I love Fez. Fez is a brilliant game. Dave asks, new controller, check out the Razer Wolverine. Oh, I can imagine. Razer is an incredible brand. Wirehead remembers this level. Oh, so you've played this before? Yeah, this level is burned into my brain too. Like I said, I think I spent 4 hours the first time I ever tried to beat it. It's excruciatingly annoying. But as I said, I want to spend some time on it with you guys so you can see the thought process behind beating one of these levels. It's going to be exactly the same if anybody sits down to play a game like this. You're going to... I'm so busy thinking about the obstacle that I can't get past, I stop paying attention to the obstacles that I'm on. Like that. A really simple obstacle to get past, or that. It's really easy to lose your focus. And if you take yourself out of the game for a little bit, you're going to be screwing up all of the stuff you normally are able to do. And live streaming a game like this is extremely difficult, but I think it's really interesting to do. Just because it really gives a lot of people who might not necessarily want to put themselves through playing a game like this, it gives them a look at what it's like. So we're going to come back there. First, we're going to go ahead and try to beat this one. And I think that's what we're going to do for the next little bit of this stream. We're just going to try to get past this level. It is hard to stream a game like this unless you're a considerable master. I never consider myself a master of really any game. I play too many. I'm not one of those guys who likes to sit there and play the same game until I am an absolute dominant god at it. That's not really my style. I play a game till I've beaten it, or till I'm satisfied with it, and then I move on. So I'm never going to be one of those streamers who will show you the absolute best way to play a game or what have you. Instead, what I like to think I do is just maybe offer a little bit of insight into a game, and I want to show just cool games, just games that I really like playing. There's so many amazing games, and I think that's what kind of made me want to get into streaming, is that there are thousands and thousands of just incredible games, but most streamers are sort of like a follow the leader crowd. So whatever the new hotness is, that's what they're going to stream. And lately, PUBG is the big hotness. So you see most streamers are doing PUBG. I don't want to be one of those guys. If it costs me some viewers, that's fine. Like right now, my meter shows I have about 9-10 viewers. That's fine. I'm just starting out. I would like more eventually, but to me, it's more important to show games that people don't necessarily see all the time. And this is one, even though it was a pretty big indie title and lots of people played it, there's a lot of people, oh shit, I hate that. There's a lot of people in this chat who have never seen this game before. So, am I perhaps the best person to show it? No. I am not the best person to show you Super Meat Boy unless you like seeing a lot of death. But I'm one of the only people who's going to show it to you. As you can see, I'm just trying to talk to you guys and not really think too deeply about what I'm doing. It helps a little bit. I think if I focused, I could probably do a bit better, but we're going to get it this time. This is going to be an extremely pulled out jump, and the same here. The only thing that makes this a little bit difficult is Meatboy slides just the slightest little millimeter, and it's not much, but yet sometimes it's everything. So now we're almost to the end. We've got to work back up past these saws. He slides up the wall if you hit it with enough force. So that's really the only way that we're going to get past these blades. So now we'll go save Bandage Girl, and that's sort of the thought process for beating a level. And here's our reward. We see a lot of Meat Boy deaths. It didn't take quite as many tries as I thought it would, but it kind of makes it satisfying, just because if you do die a lot, it kind of doesn't matter, because you get that rush of, oh, I've beaten this level, it was so hard, but I've done it, that was all me. And you also get to see all of the Meat Boys, and I'm sorry, that's just freaking hilarious. So let's check out the chat real quick. Fez played the opening level, says Dave. Not really into platformers. Yeah, if you're not into platformers, or more particularly really obscenely difficult puzzle games, Jonathan Blow loves his talking about genres. Play PUBG. Wirehead's talking about some RPGs that he found. Dungeons of Chaos. Have to look for that. Dave goes for action-adventure RPGs, Witcher, Elder Scrolls. Thank you, Robo. I was glad to be able to beat that level. So, I think we're down to let's try Omega some more. We're gonna be here for a while, guys. So, cook some popcorn, cook a steak, learn another language, have kids, send them to school, send them to college, watch them leave home, die of old age. If you want to do all those things, that's fine. I mean, I'll be here working on this level, so. This jump, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I've done this one. I think I've mostly repressed it. I think coming at the top isn't possible because we're not. It's going to have to be from the bottom. I'm pretty sure. Of course, if I jump directly into that saw blade, we do not have to worry about which direction to do it. sometimes it's better to just go ahead and let yourself die than it is to push on. Because you start developing a sort of flow as you're playing through some of these levels. And I think that it's better to break that. It's better to just go ahead and die than it is to break the flow. Because you're just going to kind of flail and flop around through everything from that point onwards. So like there. It would probably be a better idea to go ahead and die, but we'll push on through. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. It's sort of the same way with both horizontal and vertical platforms. There's a tiny little section where Meatboy fails to be responsive. So basically all of your meat has to be has to be on the level in order for it to activate. That was just a little bit of controller dying. That is so difficult. Yeah, I would say 4 hours. And it was a shame because, or it was extra difficult because Sarah and I were we were wanting to do something else, but I was so close to beating the game. And I was like, just one more try, I can do it any minute now. And I sat there hour after hour just working on this fucking level. I'm starting to get a bit frustrated with that, so I'm going to take the advice I gave you. We're going to go and work on something else. So in this case, we're going to go and see what kind of Dark World levels we haven't beaten yet. I'm pretty sure they've all been cleared out in Chapter 1. We're going to take a quick little look. There are miscellaneous bandages that are laying around, but I have not memorized their locations. So, hell if I know. So, pretty much Chapter 1 is completely cleared other than a few bandages. Alright, let's see. Meatboy is one of those games that you beat. People tend to say finish these games, not beat, but yeah, you beat it or it beats you. This game does make you rage. There's no other way to say it. It's just not... There's no other way to say it. Alright, we're going to try some of these Dark World levels and see what happens. Oh, this one is... I took a look at this the other day, and I said nope. And I just noped right out the door. I think the secret, if we could fall at just the right angle, we can get down to this lower platform and jump through, but... Look at this. I admire the level construction in this game, because everything is put at just the perfect location to kill you. I've never seen a game that's laid out. The timing and everything is just right to screw you over as hard as it possibly can. And that's admirable design, I'm not gonna lie. We're almost there. Little steps, little steps. Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there. For anybody that's interested in watching a full playthrough of this, there are some guys out there who have spent vast chunks of time, and they tear through these without dying a single time. But I am not them. I am but your humble narrator. I think the wall razors really irritate me because I shouldn't die when I hit them at a slope. Oh my god, this is insane. Okay, come on. Everything is just so perfectly crafted. There we go, and we got the speed trial for it, so feel pretty good. And the Meat Boys are off. It's also funny because you'll watch a cloud of Meat Boys dissolve at certain locations and you'll be like, oh, okay, well, that's where the game fucks me the worst. Meatboy Cloud. So, got an A+ on that one. Let's move on and see what we can see. This is another one of those color inversions. I have problems with them just because they hurt my eyes. Like, this one is sort of making my eyes bleed. Ah, shit. These are also just like their Light World equivalents, minus they have way more obstacles. And I'm so used to there being one saw blade that I'm used to playing it like there's one saw blade and not the two. So, I have to focus and remember there are two saw blades, but you have to use such a tiny little bunny hop to get through them. Just the tiniest of hops. Alright, this one seems a little bit faster. Oh shit. Fuck me, that's not good. Does anybody remember the death count at the beginning of this video? Because we are going to get that racked way up. I think it was 1,357, sounds familiar. I should have typed it into chat. I really should have. But 1357 sort of ringing a bell. 1457, according to Sarah, who is here with us today. But she's not feeling so hot. So she is just quietly watching and laughing at me, as she's often inclined to do. Once we get a second headset, we're going to start playing some two-player games for you guys, because we have so many really good ones. Okay, now see what happened. I'm so busy thinking about the double blades, I'm no longer thinking about my timing for this part. So, we're going to think about that. You're always going to die right before Bandage Girl. Always. That's just Meatboy law number 1. She's going to be like a meter away from you and you're going to bite it. But yeah, there are a lot of really cool two-player games that Sarah and I look forward to showing all you guys. But until we have a second headset, because we want to be able to both talk to you guys, so... Alright, we're almost through with this one. I think we'll get it on this try. Nope. Remember, guys, patience. Patience, patience. As I said, you're always going to die a meter away from Bandage Girl. I think you let your guard down. I think you always say, oh yeah, I've got this. Bandage Girl is mine. And then you take a saw blade to the ass. God fucking, I swear. So how do you think the meat body count's going to look after this one? I think it's going to be pretty impressive. You're going to see just clouds of meat everywhere. Let's take a look at the chat. Let's see. Nice work. Robo Clay Charm says 1637. Dave says 42. Co-op Resident Evil 5. Wirehead says co-op play on Resident Evil 5. Yeah. I would totally be down for that. We played that, a few years ago, back when it first came out. We gave it a full playthrough, and we were a decent little way through New Game Plus. Yeah, I would totally be down to do, like, a full two-player playthrough of that. Sarah's nodding, so yeah. She would, she seems like she'd be down for it as well. Alright, let's polish off this stage once and for all. It's really making my eyes hurt. There. Alright, Robo says, oh wait, actually before that, Dave says, him and Sarah should get on GTA and do heists with me. Never mind Resident Evil. Dave, we are going to play some GTA 5 with you very soon. Sarah's never even played GTA 5, but I can hand off to her from time to time. But yeah, we'll get on there and play something with you. Robo 1637, so... Okay, everybody just kind of remember that number. Damn lies. We'll play with you, buddy. We got you. Okay, look at this level and tell me why we're instantly leaving it. Because if you know, you're getting a prize. Fucking fan blades. Yeah, we won't be doing that. There's so many levels in this game, I have never seen all of them. What's really cool is, I would have liked to have had it unlocked, or at least beat it today to show you guys, but I don't really feel like taking all of the stream to do it. Once you beat the game, you unlock Cotton Candy Alley. It's sugary, it's pink, you play as Bandage Girl, and you're trying to save Meatboy. And it's an entire chapter of some of the most mind-numbingly difficult platforming outside of I Want to Be the Guy. And if you've never played I Want to Be the Guy, it is a Flash game, which is a loving tribute to classic Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. It's brutally difficult. It's purposely brutally difficult. It's borderline unplayably difficult. Very few people are actually going to beat it, but it's definitely... Fuck me. It's definitely impressive when you do beat it. If you beat it. It seems like no matter where I jump, that stupid slime ass is right there. See, look at that shit. Look at that fucker. Slimy ass fucker. What's some of the hardest games you guys have ever played? I'm kind of curious, because I'm not one of those masochist gamers who insists on only playing the hardest of games. It might seem that way because it seems like all I stream are the hardest fucking games ever made, but I actually don't like playing just hard games. So what's some of the hardest games the chat's ever experienced? Because there are so many out there. I'm just kind of curious to see what sticks with you guys for being notoriously, unrelentingly, painfully hard. Because for me, this is on my list. The original Ninja Gaiden, the newer Ninja Gaidens, those are borderline unplayable. Yeah, this is definitely on my list. Dark Souls is also on my list. Dark Souls is extremely difficult, but yeah, not too many deaths. Looks like about 10 to get through there. That's not so bad. Alright, let's check what people are saying. Fans, RoboClay got it. When I said, fuck this stage, we're leaving. Fans, yeah. Donkey Kong Country, the damn minecart level. Yeah, Dave, that minecart level sucked. Undead, RoboCop on the Commodore 64, one of the levels was rigged, so you didn't enter the corrupted level, didn't even finish the game. Really? I didn't know that. That sounds absolutely freaking stupid. I think back to, now I love retro games. I think nobody can really argue that I don't. Oh, fuck me. We're gonna have to jump down and around. I love retro games. Hugely passionate. But when people say, oh, those games were, those games were hard because they challenged, it's like a lot of the reason those games were hard was because they were broken. It's not that the designers were ever so clever, it's that people didn't quite have a grasp on what went into making a game. The games were also shorter back then, so they had to be a lot more challenging in order to kind of give them money's worth. Plus, a lot of them, arcades were big back then, And arcade games are purposely difficult by design. That's why we call them quarter munchers. Look at all these slimes. I can't even move because there's so many of them. Just happy little fucking slimes marching along. Jesus. Plus, the Japanese mentality for gaming is somewhat different than Western. The Japanese really got into arcades. So, to them, difficulty was synonymous with gaming, because arcade games are difficult. So, a lot of the Japanese mentality towards gaming has mostly to do with the difficulty of the game. That's what they consider getting their money's worth. So, that's why a lot of times you'll see Japanese games being more difficult than Western games. Once again, not a bad thing. I think it takes all types. There's a few people who will only play games on... Well, fuck me, guys. That was a bad move to make. There are a lot of guys who will only play on, like, the hardest difficulty. I think that's fine. That's not really for me, depending on what I'm playing. Certain games I'll move up to the hardest difficulty because I play the game so much. Like, the Fallout games, I will play those on the hardest difficulty with tons of self-imposed challenges just because I've played them so much. I'm so good at them. I've been to the same fucking area every single time. There we go. Oh, and I slid off like a fucking asshole. I've been debating on what my next stream for you guys is going to be, and I'm really thinking probably going to change it up a little bit, play some Fallout 4 maybe. Still up in the air. I would like to play something that's not extraordinarily difficult. I think that would be a pleasant change of pace. Almost had it. Let's see, what's going on here in chat? Dave's only started playing games on hard in the last few years. Mass Effect on Insanity, Witcher through. This War of Mine. I want to play this War of Mine. It looks really intriguing. Okay, Dave, you are, Dave, you're one of those that you pretty much only play on the hardest difficulties. Why do you do that? Because I'm kind of curious as to the mentality of people who do that, rather than work up to it. So why do you do that? Halo 2 and Legendary, Near Impossible, yeah. Is Halo 2 the one that has the Jackal snipers? Because those guys are awful. Dave, Fallout New Vegas, awesome with survival mode. Yeah, survival mode for Fallout 4 is so insanely awesome. It's like trying to survive a post-apocalyptic hell. You get sick, if you sleep too much, you get lethargic. That is such a hard fucking job. Because I love New Vegas survival mode. Fallout. Am I doing it wrong? Alright, we were waiting 1 second too long. There we go. Alright, what else is going on? Wirehead's been playing Salt and Sanctuary extremely hard. I haven't heard of Salt and Sanctuary. What kind of game is that? Jackal Snipers, that is Halo 2. Does Fallout 4 have survival mode too? Yes. Yes it does, and I am going to stream Fallout 4 eventually for you guys, and we are going to play it on survival mode. If any of you have seen Stargate, Sarah and I, we have a Fallout 4 survival mode character named Colonel Jack O'Neill. So, if you guys have seen Stargate, we're rocking Colonel O'Neill. Dave says that he plays on the hardest difficulties because of longevity and because he's become such a better gamer. It's a way of challenging yourself. Plus, he doesn't always like to replay a game. so he likes to do it at its hardest at the beginning. That makes sense, and once again, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's the thing, it's like there's so many arguments that gamers get into over every fucking thing there is, and I just think it's stupid. If Dave wants to play on the hardest difficulty out of the gate, great, do it. If somebody wants to play on the easiest because they want to play the story, great. Play games, love them, do it your way. Wirehead, Salt and Sanctuary is a 2D Dark Souls. It's amazing. We might enjoy it in co-op. What platform is Salt and Sanctuary on, Wirehead? Because I have legitimately never heard of it. And Sarah and I are always... What the fuck am I looking at? Sarah and I are always looking for cool co-op games. The couple that games together, fucking fuck. The couple that games together stays together. Salt and Sanctuary. Yeah. This is insane, seriously. It's not as... It's just there are so many kill zones. Because if you divide up the screen into areas that you shouldn't be, there's a lot of them. And that time I just didn't jump like a frickin' meat-tard. Kinda let the chat give a second to tell me about Salt and Sanctuary. Yeah, you know, I'm really thinking that a Fallout 4 survival mode playthrough for you guys would be pretty awesome. That might be something happening really soon. Really soon. Oh shit, this is brutal. There's just death from so many angles. Next, death, I'm gonna check the chat, see what you guys are up to. So we have to get the key to the far left, but I'm not sure what happens after that. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, now we have to go back there. Now we have to go back to the left. Fuck me! Now we're playing some Super Meatboy. Just one misstep. Alright, let's see what you guys are talking about in here. Playing Fallout 4 on normal at the moment. Fallout 4 is not a game that you should be playing, survival out of the gate. The survival mode is extraordinarily difficult. And this is coming from somebody, my main character in Fallout 4 has probably, I don't know, 32 days of playtime on her. So, that's just my main character. I've played some Fallout, and the survival mode is brutal. Far beyond anything I would have expected. It's almost Meatboy-esque. Fuck, I should have waited. Let's see. By the guys who made the dishwasher. The dishwasher was an incredible game. Sarah and I played that so much. And then the sequel, Vampire Smile, we played that. Did we beat Vampire Smile? Do you remember? No? I love those guys. They have a really unique art style, and their games are very distinctly theirs. So, I'm gonna have to check that out. Gotta feel sorry for Team Meat says, Dave, the amount of times... Oh, hell yeah. Because in order to design these levels and get the timing so perfect in order to kill you, I just can't help but wonder how many times they subjected themselves to this. We'll give a couple more tries to this one. If we can't get it, we'll go ahead and move on. Yeah, we'll move on. This one's pretty rough, and it's starting to strain my eyes, that black and white. Salt and Sanctuary is Dishwasher mixed with Dark Souls. Fallout 4 survival sounds great. It really is. Very cool, but so hard. These guys aren't too bad, but the biggest problem I have with them is they tend to just float around and group up together. They pretty much exist just to make you miserable, like everything else in Meatboy. Just to make you suffer. Kind of went quiet for a second. I'm just sort of thinking about the timing. You have to really pay close attention to these guys. They're starting to clump up a little bit on the top there. There we go. Yeah, a couple of tries. Once again, that's not too excessive. So as you can see, guys, there is a lot of gameplay to this game. I mean, we sat here for about 85 minutes just like looking at stages, beating stages. There's so much in here. Really, I think I would recommend this game to anybody who likes a challenge or anybody who likes platformers. Definitely that. It's definitely something that I think is worth playing. So, we are now going to go, as we come to the end of our stream, we're going to go back, and we're at 1871. Does anybody remember? I'm going to scroll up. ProBook said we were at 1637. So, looks like we're a little over 200 deaths that we've racked up in this stream. That's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good meat kill ratio, don't you? But yeah, we're going to go ahead and stop there. I think that's a pretty good place. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed Super Meat Boy. It was really great to show you guys a few levels. Definitely give it a try if you're into challenging games. So, once again, thanks to each and every one of you for coming in and supporting us and giving us some views. So, hope you enjoyed yourselves and have a good day.